Hello YouTube, my name is Albert here at the Vampire Faction, and this is my very first YouTube video out on YouTube land of me sitting in front of a camera talking. Just to kind of give you some, explanation and, going forward about this channel. Some of it will be me in front of a camera, and some of it will just be a little cartoon version of myself yapping away about some shit too. Either way, it's still going to be me talking over some stuff, and sometimes, like today, I'm going to be live sitting in front of a camera. So I've never sat in front of a camera before, and just kind of yapped away about some shit. But today, there's a first for everything, right? So this is the first for that. And today's topic is kind of interesting, in my opinion. It's something that I haven't seen really anyone talk about, and it's kind of been driving me insane because, you'd think it'd be more of like a bigger thing, right? Especially amongst the community. And, I haven't seen people talking about it. So I would like to bring forth scientifically into the community my findings and my hypothesis about a very precarious topic, I think is how you say it. Don't look that up. Don't look up that shit. I know I'm wrong. Maybe. I don't know. Anyways, but the point is that, today's topic is very interesting. I haven't seen anyone talk about it, and it's driving me insane, and I would like online, what's the term? Reassurance. What's the term? I can't think of it, so fuck it. We're gonna go reassurance. And I want everyone in the comments to, comment away and be like, oh my gosh, you're so right, Albert. Oh my god, you're such a genius. Oh my god, you're so smart. And so handsome and definitely good looking. And I'm gonna say, yes, you are correct. Thank you. Thank you for reaffirming my beliefs. To get this started, I might as well give kind of like a background. That's kind of why I put the title the way it is, like New EU and New EU. Well, we first kind of have to talk about EU in general. So EU stands for Easter Unlimited. They started off as an Easter company, believe it or not, back in the yonder, and the founder was like, there's no like good Easter stuff, for like wholesale, so I need a store to make Easter shit. And so he decided, fuck it, Easter Unlimited. Unlimited Easter, right? Boom, makes sense. That's what EU stands for, right? So whenever you refer to the EU masks, EU just as an abbreviation is Easter Unlimited. And that merely refers to the mask style that says Easter Unlimited Ink made in China, right? That's plastered on a lot of things in terms of the products that Fun World, which is the company that technically is Easter Unlimited. Easter Unlimited owns Fun World, but like they're the same thing. It's like a weird, like Holy Trinity kind of thing. Like God is Jesus and God is the Holy Spirit and the Holy Spirit's Jesus, that kind of thing. It's like they're all the same person, but like they're not actually the same person because they're different entities, but they're like the same technically, but not really. It's kind of how it is. Shut up. So the EU, it's very popular. It's been around for a while, for quite ages. They were used in, Scream 3 onwards kind of a thing. I have one back here. This is my pre-2010s. I don't know if you can see that. My pre-2010s glow-in-the-dark EU that I have. Great mask, and EUs were king for a while. They're great. Probably, I wasn't alive, or at least, I was alive. I was born in 04, so I've been around for 2 decades. To put it bluntly, but at least when I was a wee lad, I didn't understand if people took them for granted. If people really appreciated the EU at the time for what it was, because later on, I think in like 2012, 11, it's basically kind of the Scream 4-ish era, they introduced the ultra wide, which is the very interesting PVC, plasticky-ish, like not flexible, like literally just feels like fucking plastic, right? And that was the mask that I grew up with, right? That was something that I thought that was normal. When I was in elementary school, I was Ghostface, and I wore my little dinky robe with my ultra wide, in which I have up right over there. Not with the tag, that'd be great. Send me a Scream 4 tag, although I know those are kind of expensive. But anyways, so that's what I grew up with, the ultra. And it wasn't until that I, got into masks and in this whole realm that I really appreciated what the EU is and how great of a mask that is. And then when, you know, the EU was discontinued and we were just stuck with the fucking ultrawhite, you know, I think that's when all sadness started with the world. Frankly, I think it was probably 2016 that they shot Harambe. I think that was also a really pivotal mark in terms of the timeline of human events, right? Everything post Harambe, honestly, just going downhill. So then 2020 hit. Do I have to say what happened there? No, I don't. We both know. Anyways, so ultraviolets, right? We're stuck with those in the dark ages. And all of a sudden, out of the blue, you know, we just get this weird announcement that's like, fuck the EUs are back. And then, you know, everyone's ringing the bells like, here, read all about it, the fucking EUs are back. And this was in 2023, by the way. Sorry if I'm stuttering, I'm trying to get my thoughts across. Anyways, so 2023, right? We get this alert, you know, code red, EUs are back. Come on, guys, EUs are back. And, you know, people speculated. We got that thing about how they might be at Walgreens or something, and then some people got their hands on them. Then there's like that weird, like, Amazon thing where, like, some people were getting them through the mail through, like, Amazon on that one listing. Like, crazy shit, right? Like, they just kind of appeared again. I mean, granted, they're, like, a company who makes masks for, like, fucking children, you know, so, like, it's not like they're quite, you know, making Instagram posts about how they're dropping stuff, which I think they should. Funnel, where's your social media, man? Hire a social media marketer. There's plenty. A lot of my friends in school would love to get those jobs. So come on, chop. We need a social media account so we can know in the future about these releases. Because some nerds care about them, like me. There might not be a lot of us. There should be more. But you should still do it. I don't care. Make the social media. So we get this alert that the EUs are coming back, and of course some people, you know, in the, you know, collectors groups or whatever, some people are getting their hands on these things. Now, I was not fortunate enough to get my hands on a 2023, you know, new EU or whatever, and I didn't feel like paying like scalper prices either, because I know if EUs, which if EUs had truly made their return, then I know for a kind of a fact that they'd be all over the place, at Walmarts, everywhere. You can get them for affordable prices like you could ultrawides. So in the back of my head, I was thinking to myself like, man, fuck scalpers, man. Fuck that shit. I'm not paying those fucking prices for some shit I can just get later. And that was the attitude that I had, you know, from then till now. So recently, I was at Party City Halloween hunting, and I was there looking for other stuff that, you know, I was interested in, and I had kind of forgotten about EUs as a whole until I saw this massive rack, this row of EUs, and I freaked out, and I was like, yes, I have finally found one in the public. That means that the EU takeover is inevitable. So far from what I've seen, it's just EU so far. And here is that mask. Look at that. I found this beautiful bad boy. Look at that. With the tag, you know, with the modern tag that goes that Fun World is doing these days. And beautiful spotless boy. He's beautifully white. And I can only say that in certain contexts these days, but he's beautifully white. Look at him. And it wasn't until that, you know, I was celebrating this guy, you know, and I put him on my wall next to 25th anniversary one, because it makes sense to canonically put them on my wall, you know, next to each other ish, because they're both EUs, that I was looking at the both of them and I realized that these masks are different. And obviously you're looking at your screen being like, obviously, were you fucking dumb? I mean, this has, you know, the ghost face shroud, and this is a completely different mask. I mean, they're two different things, the EU versus the 25th anniversary mask. So I said, yes, I get it, but you don't understand. They're different. They're completely different masks. My first indicator was the fact that the eyes are very different from these two masks. That the one on this mask, they're taller, but they're skinnier, so they're kind of smaller. And meanwhile, on the 25th anniversary, they look more, you know, squishy. They look wider. And let alone that the mouth shapes are different from each other too. That the mouths are slightly different. And then the last thing that really gave it away was the fact that the chins are different. That I looked at the back of both chins and I realized that on this Party City one, that there was no sculpting poop. And, you know, for as silly of a term that is, that sculpting poop is, I don't know if it's an official term or not, but it's a term that I like to use to basically describe when you sculpt into clay, you're really, unless you use something like cling wrap to put the two things together, you're really just separating the clay. You're moving it apart. And because when you do that, it pushes some of the clay out in these little balls that poop essentially out of your sculpt. But if you use something like cling wrap, you know, you instead of pushing your clay apart, you're just pushing into it rather than separating the clay. So that's the main thing between these two, is that the Easter Unlimited ink made in China stamp on the back of these two masks are different. Originally, when I was thinking about the EU and what the 2023 EU would be, in my head, I imagined it to essentially be like the Cryptic Gauze revival, but without the gauze. It would just be essentially this style of EU, which is found on the 25th anniversary mask, but it turns out that this one is different, and I was very confused by that. And even feeling it, he's a bit smoother. And recently, even more recently, actually, in fact, today of this video, which is partly the reason why I'm making this, is because I made a little trip to Walmart. In Walmart this year, interestingly enough, they don't have these header tags. Instead, they have all of the masks in a box, a very rectangularly long box. And instead of these tags, they have these little tags, just kind of like as if it was a latex mask or something, right? Like something that would go like on the side of the neck, side of the head, or something like that. One of these, right? Something you find maybe on like a Dom Post or Trick or Treat Studios, or literally, you name it. It'd be one of these, not really something you'd find for like a shrouded mask like this, but this is what they have this year. And so, you know, I freaked out. You know, I'm looking, and I'm pretty excited, you know, looking through the Walmart stuff. You know, I finally got a silent screamer, and you know, I even got the Walmart version of the aged mask, which kind of varied, you know, from mask to mask, but overall some of these are a little bit more grayer, darker. I don't know about grayer, but they look like they had more shit on them, is what I'm trying to say. But what really tipped me off is that within the same box, a majority of the ones in the box were this guy. And let me hold him up compared to this guy. They both have these little tags, right? They both have the little non-header tags. But these two masks are the two different chin types. They're the ones that have the poop, which I think this is the one that has the poop. Yes, this is the one that has the poop, and this is the one that does not have the poop. The smooth one, which actually I think the font on this one is actually bigger, whoever decided to sculpt it, but this one has the poop. And this style of mask is the one that's found on this guy, found on this guy, and that poop on the chin is the same one as this pre-2010s EU. They all have the poop on the chin, they all have that texture. And if you felt on the back of the chin, it feels almost kind of like you're reading Braille because of these little bumps. Bumps! Because of these little bumps that are on the chin. These two things, these two masks, are different. I mean, looking at them, the eyes, the mouth, they're two different masks. And to me, the part that made me kind of go insane is the fact that nobody really talked about it. Or no one is talking about it. Maybe because no one's noticed it and I'm the first, which would be, hey, that'd be pretty cool, right? First video on YouTube and I make this big discovery, right? I think it's interesting though that these two masks are different and have a different style of the back chin, right? Because one big thing, a part of being in the Ghostface collecting or whatever, is, you know, knowing that each chin on the back of the chin is different, right? You have the T stamps, the MK stamps, the HN stamps, the N stamps, you know, all these things, these separate indicators that indicate that the molds are different. And so, to me, I think it's very interesting that finally, finally, we have a new mold for these things. You know, it's different, and they're being sold at the same time, which to me kind of reminds me of how all those stamp masks were sold. They're just kind of like all together, right? Like people weren't paying attention to what stamps you had. It was just more like, oh, let me pick up a ghost face mask. Because, you know, the whole point of the stamps, for those not aware, is to signify which factory the mask came from. Because at the time when, you know, Scream was booming, the movies were really popular, ghost face stuff was in demand, like hot demand. And so they had to make these at separate factories. And for Funworld to basically keep track of the quality and do like quality assessments of the masks, that they would have to essentially know where they came from, right? If one set of masks, you know, the paint is horrible, these things are looking like shit, then they gotta know where it came from. So all these stamps are basically indicators of where they came from. And of course, you know, there's different types of EUs, right? Like the different, you know, pre-2010, post-2010, is it glow in the dark, non-glow in the dark? There's another bunch of like whole rabbit hole, even with the old EUs, that make them different from one another. But they still all have, or at least to my knowledge, from my homework, that they still all have the bumps in the back. They're not smooth, unlike this new guy. That's basically what I wanted to talk to you guys today about, was the fact that even within the same box at Walmart for $8.98, that there are two different style masks in the same box. Well, granted, it was a majority of them was the poop. So it just, to me, is very fascinating that I could find both the poop and non-poop, the new one, in the same box. And that these new ones even appeared in the first place. Like, they just kind of appeared out of thin air. You know? Like, I was expecting them to do the poop one, which is similar to both of these guys, and just make this without the gauze, which essentially I think what they did. And I'm pretty sure, I'd have to pull up image here, which I'm pretty sure is what they did for the 2023 EUs that people managed to get their hands on. If I'm not mistaken, I could be mistaken. And I also could be mistaken on the fact that the smooth one is even a new one to begin with. You know, who says that it's not just a reused mold from the past, which I don't think so. But even if it is already a thing, that's still really cool that there are two new EUs on the market. Like, that's amazing. That's just two different variants for us collectors to collect and to nerd out and geek out about. That we're celebrating that, statistically speaking, the fact that these are different molds is kind of in the spirit of the stamps, as I mentioned earlier, in the sense that these two may have been made in different factories. I don't know for sure. I'm not fucking Funworld, and I'm not gonna go to... Please do not cancel me for this if you are Chinese. Foshan Guangdong, China. Wow. First video, we're already getting canceled, guys. Please subscribe, otherwise I'll never have a career. I'm kidding, not really. Anyways, but that implies that even though a majority of Easter Unlimited's manufacturing is done in China, even though, like, you know, on all the costumes and all the other miscellaneous non-Funworld stuff you'll typically see, that's where they're made. Who knows, maybe they have more than one factory or something. Maybe they have a couple of factories, you know, like kind of right next to each other, like it's fucking the Warner Brothers a lot or something, you know? You have your different studios, and some are making the poop mask and some are making the not poop mask. Or better, even weirder perhaps, maybe they're phasing out poop mask for non-poop mask. And this was kind of like a weird transitional thing. But I low-key kind of doubt it, given the fact that both of these masks are made April to June 2024. They both have the same production dates. So that means that they were produced at the same time. Well, maybe. It also could just be that they're using the same tags for these things and they just didn't bother to print anymore for the two different versions. And they just thought nobody would notice. Who knows? There's a lot of speculation here. You know, there's no really any way to get answers. Other than, of course, if you know the people at Funworld, which for a guy who, at the time of making this video, only has 4 subscribers so far, I don't know any of those people. I would like to befriend the people at Funworld. That would be great if we got big enough one day that me and Funworld could be friends. But until that day comes, we're just gonna have to hope that other people in the hobby contact Funworld and kind of ask, like, hey, you know, what's up with these two different things or something. Man, what the fuck? Sorry about that. My cryptic gauze revival mask here just tipped over, probably because there's ghosts in this room. Quite literally, yes, there are ghost faces in this room. But I mean, there might be actual spirits, which if so, yeah, I just wanted to make this video today because it's just something that I noticed, and you know, looking at the close-up shots and the chins, it just seems kind of somewhat undeniable for me that these masks are different and that we're getting two EU variants at the same time. Regardless if the new smooth version, it truly is new or not, it's still amazing we're getting two EU versions at the same time. And I think that's something worth celebrating and talking about, because Fun World has heard our prayers and brought back the EU, and I think have basically are phased out, or you know, in the midst of phasing out the ultrawide. So I think that's something to celebrate, and I think that is a very great topic for me and you to talk about today for our first video here on the Vampire Faction. So I hope you enjoyed it. Please, in the comments, let me know your thoughts. Let me know if you, even if this was something that you noticed. You know, is this something that you know you saw whenever you went Halloween hunting, or if you're just learning about it right now from some 20-year-old dweeb in his room, surrounded by Halloween masks. Either way, it's still great. Let me know your thoughts in the comments, and please like this video and consider subscribing. I'm sorry if this video was a bit of a mess. I never sat down in front of a camera before just to yap about what I want. I promise in the future there will be scripted videos where I'll just do takes and takes of things over and over again, so I don't stutter or have to collect my thoughts mid-speech. But regardless, still great. So thank you guys so much for watching, and yeah, you guys been a blast, and please consider subscribing. I can't say that enough, so that you can get more videos like this, and let me know in the comments what videos you would be interested in seeing in terms of maybe Fun World, non-Fun World stuff. Doesn't matter. I'm excited to start YouTube and to do this so I can yap about the things I'm passionate about. Yeah, so goodbye for now. I love you all. Bye-bye.